Against all expectations, today looks flyable. Wow, son. I'll talk to you more when I get up.
As a general rule of thumb, ozone wings are easier than average to launch. Also, lightweight wings are easier than average to launch. And finally, if you pick a day with a helpful little headwind, that makes it easier to launch too. I am flying a lightweight ozone wing with a helpful headwind. If I foul up this launch, my ego may never recover. That's the thing I do. Every time I turn off my motor, like before an acro run or something, I turn it right back on. Because I like to know at the top, at my highest altitude, if it's working. Obviously it worked on the ground, but let's check again. Things happen. Okay, so here's the scoop. I flew like 2 days ago, and it was almost like saying goodbye to a loved one on a work trip. Because the weather report said there would be no more flying for about 5 days. That's a long time for me. I don't like to wait that long. But if it's raining, if the gusts are at 40 miles an hour, and that's what the weather report was, then you can't fly. That's just where you are. I woke up this morning and it was both of those. Heavy rain and hail, gusts in the 40s. I got up just to see the spectacle of how terrible the weather was, and figured it wasn't going to be a flying day. The forecast said so as well. And I locked myself into a dark room and I watched Veep, the HBO special. Anyway, come like 5 p.m. or so, all of a sudden, it doesn't look bad. I mean, it's a little windy, it's a little gusty, but it looked flyable. And look how sunny it is. I bet this is a terrible camera, just shooting into the sun. I'll go this way. But, I was like, man, I gotta get up. Tomorrow's not flyable, the next day is not flyable, but if it's flyable right now, then I should go. So I did, and I checked winds aloft, and it said that it was like 14 miles an hour at 2,000 feet, well within my bounds. The thing is, what I'm finding is I actually can barely penetrate forward at 2,400 feet, so winds aloft are a little higher than they were forecasted. And it's a little bit bumpy. I knew that. This is what I wanted to tell you guys. So I actually learned this in a Superdell video. He said that after heavy storms move through, the back side of it, post-frontal, can be quite turbulent. And you hear that and then you want to put together like a body of experience that matches it. Are you finding the same thing? So that's what I'm doing right now. It is a little bumpy, which is why I chose this wing. This is an Ozone Swift 4. The Swift 5 exists now, so it's been replaced, but it's kind of a legendarily good wing. It's the same as the Rush 4. It's a free flight wing, but the lightweight version, and it has a lot of safety built into it. Not a lot of speed, but tons of lift and tons of safety, and it's the wing that I usually fly midday. I fly my free ride sometimes too, but this one is great. So I figured if it's going to be, Dell described it as like picture a wave, like behind the wave as it goes through the ocean. That like churning yuckiness that's behind the wave? That happens on a macro scale behind weather. Now, I'm not even sure that's true. I think I've heard some free flight pilots say that post-frontal can be outstanding conditions that they just love. So here I am, putting together my body of experience. It was gusty on the ground, so I expected it to be a little bumpy, and it is a little bumpy, but it's not scary or anything. It's pretty cool. You guys want to lose some altitude? You do. You're thinking about it. Which way should? Let's go left. Sat, Woody. Sat back, Woody. So boss. Going big. Outside brake it is. Alright, that should get it done. And I don't want to drift over the houses. A friend of mine had a student today that said I flew over congested areas. Bite your tongue, young student. I do not fly over congested areas, you silly head. And Don't use my imaginary example as some excuse for you. It's just not true. Here, look down. What does happen though sometimes is there's congestion like off in the distance, you know. Heck, even I'll show you what I'm avoiding. Those houses over there, I don't want to get blown over them. Not because it's dangerous, it's not. I'll have picked up enough ground speed by the time I get there, but because it's against the rules, and you want to be a good ambassador to the sport. For all I know, there's lots of people looking at me right now. Anyway, fun times. So I'm about 1,500 feet over the ground right now, and I want to talk about landing because I sometimes see pilots with much less experience than me. For those of you who don't know me, I'm about a 420-hour pilot right now. They have less experience than me, yet they're trying landings that are more advanced than I would go for. So I'm going to steer a little bit, make sure I don't fly over a house, other than my own. I give myself that permission. So here I am, whatever I am, 1,500 feet above the ground. This is when I do all my housekeeping, right? You know, like on my motor, I have this flap that's real comfortable. It extends to my knees, but I don't like to land it. So I'll do this way up high, get it out of the way now. This wing doesn't have trimmers, but maybe you like to land with the trimmers on the white line. You know, maybe you like to land with the trimmers at full slow or full fast. This is the time to do that. I sometimes see pilots at, 30 feet getting that stuff sorted out, and that's crazy. You should be focused on something else at 30 feet and have all your housekeeping, have your trimmers set right, have your buckles in the place you want them to be, have your mind straight long before that. So with this wing, I'm not gonna land for like 5 minutes, but I do like to pick my spot. So my motor's off right now, but it's only off because I'm talking to you. What I do pretty much every single landing is I put the motor at idle and try not to use it. I make this contract with myself that I'm not going to use the idle, and instead I'm going to nail my spot landing. The reason I don't turn the motor off is I might want it. You know, something might happen in the air, or maybe I foul up my approach, or who knows what, but I might want to go around. And even with E-start, it's not something I want to be fooling with. And if I had a pull start, well, that's next level. You know, if you decide at 30 feet that you don't like the way you're landing and you have a pull start, then you have a problem. So like I'm saying, I just turned my motor off so I could talk to you guys. Anyway, here I am doing my circles and I'm looking at my windsocks. I'm quite confident that the action camera can't pick up my windsocks. Heck, my eyes can barely pick them up. But I have a good idea where the wind is because I've been flying around and because I launched. But I look at the windsocks and confirm and see the direction that I want to go. Sometimes I see people going for advanced landings when they shouldn't. So the baller move would be to come in, wingtip drag, and drop this motor right on top of my stuff sack, put the wing right into it. The thing is, that's not the lowest risk landing that I can think of. I think a lower risk landing would be to come in, you guys don't know, but like pretty much in the opposite direction I'm going now, maybe turn a little bit and put it down, I don't know, maybe this side of the driveway, or if I'm a little high, I'll just accept the other side of the driveway, but not on it. My point is not the details of how I'm approaching it, but the fact that I'm prioritizing risk over everything else. You know, we've all seen Tucker land, and it's amazing, right? He does these baller, like, wingtip drag, turn, swoop landings where he foot drags for 100 feet. You ain't Tucker, baby. You ain't Tucker. And you don't have to be. You're flying. It's rad enough. And that's the approach that I take with my landings. Also, my land is uneven. There's all these buildings which are just rotor factories. I'm about to pass over a power line. It's not the place to learn the kind of skill that Tucker's developed, so I just haven't. So anyway, now I've got some work to do because I'm a little high compared to what I want to be. So I think I'm gonna fly. Yeah, I'll go around my neighbors' houses so as not to be over them. Yeah, I think I'm good. And I'm gonna come in. I'm still high, so I'm glad I went all the way around them. Yep. So I want to land this way. So I'm going to kind of like S-turn a bit, lose a touch of altitude. I'll probably come in over these trees, turn left, and set her down. This is going to work well. And then I'll turn left, give that brake back for full flare authority, and like a butterfly with sore feet. That was a good landing. So if there's a takeaway there for new pilots, what I really want you to do is, one, get yourself sorted out way over ground. So the only thing you need to focus on is your approach. And two, when you're choosing your flight path, when you're choosing exactly where your final is going to be, top priority is safety. It's not about, doing something tricky or awesome to try and land right next to your car or something. Land safely and take a walk if you have to.